another stream. And in this stream, we're going to be taking a look at the Tauri file system plugin. I have a use case for this, but first I'm going to play around with it and see how well it works. So let me open up a new window here for Firefox. Let's go like that. And what we'll do is we'll look up Tauri plugins. So Tauri plugins are a little bit annoying to deal with. Also, I'm going to try to answer questions and stuff like that. Let me head over to, maybe we'll use Twitch's chat today. I don't know. And go to my channel. Muted, good. And we've got the chat here. How can I make this thing pop out? I think I tried this before and I couldn't figure it out. Moderation, blah, 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 chat appearance, chat highlights, pop out chat, there we go. Okay. And then I'm gonna right click this, I'm gonna say always on top, and then that should work. So when usually all of the comments come in through YouTube, and they should show up here via restream. So hopefully that works out. Let me make sure that I actually am live on YouTube though. Yeah, all right, cool. All right, so we're going to take a look at Tauri plugins. Let me pull this out here, then let me take these and put it over on my other workspace. So Tauri plugins, the way that they work, they have like a workspace, and then there's like other, in addition to having a workspace, there's like other repositories. It's kind of confusing, to be honest. But the ones that I'm going to be paying attention to here are going to be the file system plugin. Now I'm using their 2.0, like Tauri 2.0. And so here they have file system extra, they have file system watch. And I think what I want to get at is on version 2, I think they put everything just in the file system plugin, which I'm not sure is available to me. Let me take a look here. Plugins, FS. I guess we'll have to see. Yep, there is V2. All right, so we're just going to try this out, see how it works. And I want to see if I can manipulate the file system with Tauri. So let's take a look here. Dependencies, blah, blah, blah. All right. Let me get this terminal over here. We'll take this and throw it actually over there like that. And let's go to repos. Whoops. Oh, I'm already in an application. So I already set up an application. It's already got some stuff in it. It's got Tailwind set up and a couple other things, but it's basically just like a completely fresh application. I guess from here, what I'll do is I'll run a pnpm run Tauri dev. And then we'll open up another thing to actually develop there. And so working with the file system is going to be useful for a lot of different applications that I want to build on top of Tauri. Let me move this. Yeah, like that. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is, I guess what we'll do is we'll open up the cargo toml file, and we're just going to add, okay, this is build dependencies, so then we have dependencies here. So we're going to add the file system, I guess. Oh, okay, this is alternatives. I don't know if I really care if I'm using it with Git or not. I have to think about that. I probably want to get the latest, so we'll probably use get. All right, so this is dependencies. We'll just pop that there. And it's either rebuilding or it crashed. Okay, it's rebuilding. Can install the JavaScript guest bindings with your preferred package manager. Okay, so we're going to need guest bindings. I think I want to use Git in this case as well. I just want to make sure I'm using whatever is the latest. So let's do this, that. No matches found. I hope what they have is the newest. Unable to, oh wait, one second. Since most JavaScript package managers are unable to install packages from Git mono repos, provide read-only mirrors of each plugin. This makes installation option 2 more ergonomic to use. Well, it doesn't seem like it works at all. So let's take a look here, because we definitely want the guest bindings. I guess we'll just install this. Yeah, it looks like I actually installed the right one. 2.0 alpha 0.6. Okay. Cool. So now let's close that down. And let's see how to use this. I think we need to register the plugin first. So we're going to be looking for... one second. Let me... I have to edit something that I edited somewhere else. So I don't get like the node modules popping up when I'm searching for things. There we go. Okay. So now what we're going to do is source, we'll go back here, Tauri, source, main. Okay. And now what we want to do is add a plugin for the file system. So this has plugin Tauri shell. Not really sure what that's useful for, but whatever. Save that. It's probably going to recompile. So yeah, if we take a look, waiting for file lock on build directory. Yeah, okay. Afterwards, all of the plugins APIs are available through JavaScript guest bindings. Okay. Now, I don't really know what that API is, if there's documentation for it. I guess it's all pretty new, so there probably isn't a lot of documentation for it. But I guess we'll just kind of find out as we go. So let's see. Let's wait for that build directory to go. Maybe it's because my language server's kind of starting up. Put that over there. Well, let's see if we can move this here. Jeez, I'm getting a lot of lag here. What's happening? I guess this is just what using Rust is like. Holy, what is going on? That's gotta be... Yeah, it's Rust compiling. How's it going, Gabriel? Hopefully that calms down a little bit. Okay. Yeah? Jeez. How's the progress? Pretty good. Right now I'm just kind of in a learning stage. Jeez, Rust Analyzer is still starting. Okay, here we go. I guess I'm in Discord here. I want to open up private chats on stream. So let me go check another Okay, sounds super important. Jeez, this is painful. I don't know how long this is going to take just to start my language server up here. Hopefully this isn't every single time. The power of Rust. Is knowing Rust a requirement to using Tauri? Not really. You could get away with a lot without using without really doing anything more than adding plugins. You could get away with a lot. Like the nice thing is when I'm using this plugin thing here, I have all the guest bindings in JavaScript. So most of the interaction I'm going to be doing at the JavaScript layer. But I'm going to benefit of all this. I'm going to benefit from all of the speed that Rust has when doing like file system operations. So the file system operations will be done with Rust, but unbeknownst to me, like I'm basically just going to be invoking things from the front end. Yeah, that's nice. I mean, you can get down like into the nitty gritty with Rust. But as much as I can abstract to like a to like a library that's going to do it better than my naive implementation anyway, I would rather abstract it to a library and just use guest bindings in JavaScript, I think, from the front end. This is going to take like forever, huh? I guess we can kind of start developing maybe. I guess I don't really need this to be built. I guess I don't really need to work with Rust. So I guess this is like kind of superfluous for me to be sitting here waiting for this. So we can probably ignore that. And then we can probably just go to like, just going to do everything in app, I guess, for now until I have to break something else out. Let's see if loading up TypeScript tools. All right, that's not too bad. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I have no idea how to use this thing. So, and the documentation doesn't seem to be super, the documentation is pretty sparse. So we're going to have to kind of figure it out as we go. All right, so we have metadata and already, what's the problem? Has no exported member metadata. Okay. Does it even exist? Yes, it does exist. So what exists within here? Okay, we have open stat, lstat. I don't know what lstat or stat is. We can make directories. We can watch. That's what I'm very interested in. Creating. That's what I'm interested in. Exists. Remove. Rename. Read directory. Copy file. Directory entry. Dir entry. File info. Roll event. Reading a file. Seek mode. Truncate. Okay, we've got a lot of stuff here. I don't know if I'm going to go through all of these. There's not that much, though. This is a different app from yesterday. Yes, this one is going to focus mostly on the file system. That's what I'm mostly interested in doing with this application. And that may become apparent later on why I'm building this, but we'll have to see. No matter what, I do need to integrate with the file system because all of the events from the last desktop app, I want to be able to pull them down and save them. So I don't know. What would be a good way? Maybe if we could, what does stat mean? Like if I hover this, resolves to blah, blah, blah for the specified path will always follow symlinks, but will reject if the symlink points outside the scope. Okay, there's an example here that I, for some reason, cannot jump into. Here we go. Since 2.0. So here's an example. Import stat from blah, blah, blah. File info await stat.hello.txt from base directory.app. That's a directory? Okay, maybe that means like inside of the... All right, let's just grab all this here. See what happens. So I'm gonna just take that, I'm gonna delete this. I'm gonna say, what is this? It's an enum. Okay, what is available in the enum? And why is nothing actually available in the enum? Could be because instead of doing this, we probably want to wrap this around in a function. So we're going to say like async, sure, and then we'll wrap that there, and we'll do this. Still have an error. Object literal may only specify known properties, and dir does not exist on type stat options. Property app does not exist on type of base directory. So this must be old maybe? My guess is that you pretend to implement an export input markdown function into the blog app. My guess is that you intend to implement an export import markdown function into the blog app. Yeah, so there's a myriad of things I would like to do. In the blog app, I would like to exactly that. I would like you to be able to like just import files, right? So that would be really nice. So you could just import a markdown file just with the click of a button. Another thing I'd like you to be able to do is download all of your blogs from the internet and save them on your machine, because you got, right now, like if you're using like Medium, you write in Medium and then you post to Medium, right? So like the experience in Medium, and this is why I'm kind of moving in this direction. Oh, this looks kind of interesting, but if I'm writing on Medium, I come in here, I write all my stuff, and then I post, and then there's never a time where I really own my data. You know what I mean? Like if Medium disappeared, everything I ever wrote on Medium would be gone. It's all in their database. So that's kind of a big problem in my mind. I want something that's going to last a long time. And I think this is how I can kind of like get people to switch over, because like you're going to own your data, like you're going to fully own your data. So when you post blogs and stuff like that, you're going to be able to pull the data down. You're going to be able to hold on to all of it. I mean, it's literally going to cost you maybe a megabyte, maybe a little more than that, but like it's going to cost you very small amounts of storage for text files and then links to image files and stuff like this. And I think that's something that people would want. So let's leave this on, and let's just wrap it, and maybe we'll just take a look here. So we have hello.txt, and then we have some other problem. We have like some directory thing that's got to be that we're passing here, right? So like, what if I didn't pass this? What does it? It looks like it's okay with that. But then what is this path? Right? Like where? If I take a look at this, okay. Path string or URL. What are we calling a URL in this scenario? Options are stat options or undefined. Resolves to a link code file info for the specified path. Will always follow symlinks. Yeah, okay. But the problem is that you lied to me already in your documentation, so I already don't trust you. And I need to know where this is. I'm going to take a guess that it's going to be like directly in the root of my project. So let's maybe try that. Let me get this flashbang out of here. All right. So, okay, the base, but then what even is this? What exists on base directory? Base directory dot data font home temp. Oh, okay. Interesting. So these are probably paths. So like for instance, if I did config, I wish it would give me the name of the thing and not this stupid nonsense. 3? Like what? Okay, let's comment all that out, and then let's do, we'll do console.log. And then what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need a button to invoke this. So we already have some stuff here. Let's maybe get rid of, or we'll just, you know what, we'll just add a button. Button, on click, do the stuff. Okay. And then we're going to console log it. We can console log it, or we can just add ourselves a little bit of state here. So we can do const equals, we'll just put some state. So this will be, I don't know. Let's do, let's console log it for now, that's fine. That's totally fine. So let's take this then, put it over here. Let's wrap our button in a little, not that. We'll do my8. Okay. Inspect. And from here, we'll go to console. Let's click on this. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it just says 3. So that must mean something to something else. Something else must know what 3 is. Okay, so then let's do file info and this. Forbidden path. And I got a promise rejection for that. Okay, maybe let's try to be more specific. Let's do home, Christian, and hello.text. Now, is that a forbidden path, or is that because the file doesn't exist? So let's do touch hello.txt, tsx. I always do that. Move, anytime I want to write a text file, now I'm so used to writing that, tsx hello.txt. Let's try this again. Forbidden path again. Now this would be the correct path because it's home, Christian, and then the name of the file. How do you make your fonts like this? What do you mean, like the cursive stuff? I think Fire Code has the ability to do that. Then you just have to look into font features and stylistic sets. And then that should get you there. Okay, so we have some sort of forbidden path. Let's see if that is something that existed in the version 1 of these kinds of things. So we'll go to Tauri plugin docs. Okay. Development, debugging, testing, building, distribution, making your own CLI, calling Rust from the front end, events, multi-window, splash screen system tray, window customizations. Okay, not very helpful for what I want to do at least. I mean, even just to work with the regular ones that aren't in the core API. I mean, well, this is from the plugin file system. Okay, like they have this metadata thing, but it's just like, is that a thing here? I don't even know what stat necessarily is, but metadata is no longer a thing, it seems. Can I like make directory maybe? But like, where's all the? There must be some documentation for this. Guest.js. Like even for the original one, so I could just get an idea of how it was used. They don't seem to have a wiki. Search for a forbidden path. Okay, there's allow path here, and then there's forbidden paths. I feel like I need docs for this though. Let's see what this guy's doing. So they have an API path here for this. I guess that's built in. Okay, here we go. Reading a directory. Doesn't really seem to get anywhere with this though. There has to be, okay, one second. What's the most basic thing I can do? I mean, I'm assuming everything is going to be forbidden to me unless I have some config option somewhere that allows that not to be the case. But if I do is write file, you know what I mean? And then okay, so if I want to write a file, call write file, and then what does it take? It takes a path, and then it takes some data, which is a uint8 array, which I actually had to handle before. This is an example of how to do it. Yeah, you can use the text encoder, right? Okay, this base directory nonsense doesn't seem to really do anything though. Try relative path. Okay, we'll try a relative path. So okay, we know that whatever these options are no longer relevant. And so maybe I could do something like this, you know? And then the data is just going to have hello world in it. Okay, so here's writing a file. Let's give that a shot. Still going to say read file. Where is it going to write it to? What does this give back? One second. Promise void. Okay. I was kind of hoping it would say you could spit back up where it wrote the file to. But I guess not. Anyway, let's just click it. Yeah, everything is forbidden. So if I do maybe this. Forbidden. Yeah. I need to figure out why everything is forbidden for me to do. That's the first step, I guess. There is a config option to set things read write. Config option. Okay, but that necessitates that I know where that config is. So that config exists where? Forget where it is, but you need to give it permission. Gotcha. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like the config could be at the Rust layer, or it could be, I would assume it would be at the Rust layer where I instantiated the plugin, right? So like if I do this here, like I initialized this plugin, but I don't know if I need to give it like some particular permission to do something. I don't know. And you know, there's just not really a lot of like, I'm even looking just through like the old docs or something like this. Like I'm just looking for like where is there any documentation for how to use these even the old APIs that people were using, I'm assuming? Tauri config. Oh, why did I click on that thinking it was like a link? Tauri.config, I don't know how to use that. Maybe I'll take a look at that. Yeah, same thing here. This is like their read-only thing. No docs. Here we go. Here we go. This has got to be it. But what is this? Where does this live? This package is also accessible with that in the tauri.conf.json. So I guess there's a tauri.conf.json. Look at that link. Oh, did you send it to me in GitHub? Or not GitHub, Discord? Or no, it must have been somebody else. But I think, if this was a link, it didn't link me anywhere. Like I said server, not, like, because it just actually puts just tauri.config. I don't know if that was supposed to be like an embedded link or something. Oh, it's on YouTube. Oh, okay. Yeah, let me try that. What's happening? Oh, okay. I'll have to check those later. I would have to make you a mod, I think, for you to put a link. Standard moderator. All right, now you should be able to link stuff. I think we need to put a tauri.conf.json at the root of our project. That's my thinking. So, I don't know. Does one already exist? Tauri. Oh, here it is. Okay, it's inside the source Tauri. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. And now inside of this, we have Tauri. And then we maybe have an allow list. Does that already exist? No. Okay. So then what we'll do is we'll jump at the bottom of this. And we'll jump to the bottom of this. I think that this is, yeah, that's what's inside. So what we're going to do is we'll put a comma there. And then we're going to just grab this allow list. This would close it there. That would close it there. Found the spot. Okay, cool. You're a mod on YouTube now, so you should be able to send messages. All right, and now, sure, okay. I'm assuming if you have this one set, you don't need these, but whatever. It's recommended to allow list only the APIs used for optimal bundle size and security. This module prevents path traversal, not allowing absolute paths or parent directory components. User path to file or path, paths accessed with this API must be relative to one of the base directories. So if you need access to arbitrary file system paths, you must write such logic at the core layer instead. Okay. This module prevents path traversal, not allowing absolute paths or parent directory components. Path access with this API must be relative to one of the base directories. So I do want to give the ability for this thing to speak outside of itself. Like I want it to be able to... Well, I can restrict paths, or does it automatically restrict paths? The scope configuration is an array of glob patterns describing the folder paths that are allowed, for instance. Yeah, I don't want to have access to the whole file system, but I want two apps to have access to the same place. Use of app data variable. The value is injected at runtime, resolving to the app data directory. I would like maybe for it to have access to... Okay, so like this has to be outside. I use this to whitelist, right? What's Tauri? Tauri is a way for me to build desktop applications with Rust with Rust, but like not really. Like yes, but no. Like it's a better way to build desktop applications that uses. I'm assuming, and I'm not a complete expert in this. I don't have my PhD in Tauri yet, but it gives me some sort of like different web view, or it has its own way of like rendering the application in a more native way than using something like Electron, because Electron's going to need to spin up like an entire Chrome browser as kind of like the back end. Everything's done in Node, and so like it's hard. It's really hard on your system resources. Where like Tauri depends on, from what I understand, two core components of Tauri is Tau and Rai. And then those two things somehow handle managing Windows in a more native way, and that kind of thing. But again, I don't really know too much about like the core internals work and how all that stuff works. What I know is that I'm going to be able to build a better, faster desktop application if I use something like Tauri than if I use something like Electron. And in addition to that, it still gives me the opportunity to build my front end with more modern React or modern JavaScript frameworks and patterns and things like that. So like I can use React for my front end still. So it allows me to bring all of my skills that like I have with React and making websites to making desktop apps and still allowing them to be like performant. Hopefully that explains it. Okay, so this whitelist things, I think what we're going to want to do is whitelist the data directory so that we can speak between, or maybe we would use temp, but that's okay, I guess. Trying to execute any API with a URL not configured in the scope results in a promise rejection. Okay, fair enough. All right, so let's see what we can use without scoping anything yet. I think we updated this. Let me make sure. Did I save it? Yeah, it looks like it's saved. So let's see if we can just like save things like relative and write files relative now. Still forbidden path, but I don't know where it's trying to write that to. And I don't know if I need to restart the... I may need to restart things after changing the config file. I'm not 100% sure. What is this? Wait a minute. Additional properties are not allowed. Allow list was unexpected. Awesome. Okay, great. I don't necessarily need the file to persist on reboot, but what I do need is for it to be accessible across different desktop applications that are looking for something. I need to rebuild. Well, now I'm not 100% sure because it looks like it tried to rebuild, but there's some additional properties in the conf. So either I wrote that wrong or, okay, here we go. Allow list was unexpected. So did I put that in the right place in the tauri.conf.json? Let's see if we can take a closer look at that. And maybe we'll see. Okay, there's like configuration, it looks like, for plugins as well. So that may also be something we need to explore. So, okay, so we have, it's directly under Tauri, and then we have this allow list. And then we have that. I feel like I remember that's where it went, but okay, it doesn't look like that changes much. If we're looking at what this tells me, yeah, I mean, that's where that stuff's supposed to go. So let's see if there's anything like this for V2. Oh, it just like literally, it didn't like keep me in the same place. It just took me home. Yikes. Okay, whatever. So, am I in V2? Yeah, beta.tauri.app. Okay. Okay, here we go. Now we might be able to learn some things. File system. No. Yeah, because I am using their beta stuff. And this is mostly so that I can get access to building a mobile site or a mobile app as well. But I guess if it's not totally there, maybe I can roll it back. Should it be under plugins? I doubt it, but maybe. The problem is I can't tell because there is no documentation for that yet. So I guess I don't know how hard I want to push to like build on the newer stuff if I can't necessarily use all of the, in the config. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the thing is like the name for it even eludes me. Like I wouldn't know what to call it, right? Like you could, you have this, and then we have some allow list, but then it would be under like this one's naming in the plugin is called shell, so it knows to reference it that way somehow. So like if we go here, we have like the shell. Like maybe it's FS. Maybe. But then we have like FS here, so it's just like, would I think that it really would be under FS, allow list FS, and then this? Yeah, I don't know. I would like to know what my config options are, if that's possible. Because I don't mind not having like a ton of docs or something like that, as long as I can kind of derive things. But it looks like this is just not going to be the case. Authenticator. Yeah. Yeah, that one's not it. It's not there. Store, updater, stronghold, upload. WebSocket. We might have to just roll back to like 1.5 and forego being able to build mobile apps. Right. But this is what I have, isn't it? Because if you look, remember too that I'm on 2.0. So like if we're looking here, yeah, like we got them outermost, and then we have Tauri, right? And then if we take a look here, then we have the allow list directly under Tauri, like this. And then you have the file system there. So I'll take this, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna give me the same problem. It looks like you're not closing that one there. So I would say that that's exactly what I have. File system, allow list. Remove the FS property. Why? I think we're gonna potentially just roll back to and then we'll go with this. But I think we might have to roll back to 1.5. I was really hoping that I was going to be able to like make a mobile app appear out of thin air with this, but it looks like that's not going to be the case. So it looks like we're going to have to kind of go from scratch here with 1.5. Yeah. So let's do that. Documentation is just not there yet, but hopefully there's a clear upgrade path. I don't think it'll be that difficult to do an upgrade, but I do want to get this working in like a general sense anyway. So when they do release 2.0, I'll go through and I'll fix everything. But for now, whatever. So let's do pnpm create Tauri app. Let's get rid of the alpha. Okay. Hopefully it's still going to give me the latest. I'm going to say file example. We'll be using TypeScript and JavaScript. We'll use pnpm. We're going to use React. I'm going to use TypeScript. And then we're going to go into file example. Now what I'm going to check is that if I go to source Tauri and I go to the that file. Okay, we're on 1.5. Okay, yeah. So I'm assuming this is going to make life a little bit easier for us. I am going to need to now just kind of re-bootstrap things, just because it's not going to be that difficult for me to do, and I do want to be using these components and things. So I'm just going to quickly go to my profile, and we'll do that. Have I tried Svelte? I have tried Svelte for like a second. I've tried a lot of different configs, or not configs. I've tried a lot of different frameworks for like, a moment. But I kind of hate all web development in general. I would love for something new to exist here. So being that I kind of hate all of it, like I just got good at React and I just use React. In the future, I'm hoping something changes, but the whole ecosystem itself I don't like. Everything feels wrong about everything in this space. So it's just like I don't really have like this desire to like kind of like like on Linux, like you kind of distro hop, and then like even in NeoVim, I find myself sometimes like let me try out this new plugin, you know what I mean, or let me try out this new thing. But I already know React, so that's I hate JS entirely, but Svelte seemed more sane to me. Yeah, and that's fair. So like if I would have started when I like started my journey a year ago to like doing front end stuff. If I would have started with Svelte, I would be saying the same thing, where someone would be like, well, have you tried Solid? You know what I mean? And I'd be like, well, I already know Svelte. So I'm just like, I hate everything. So I'm sticking with Svelte. You know what I mean? That's not to say that maybe some of the stuff isn't interesting in Solid. I know signals are kind of interesting in Solid. I know Svelte is doing things with runes. Like I generally keep up with these concepts and things like that, but then I would have to go and learn Svelte. Versus in React, I already know hooks in React. I know how to do state management in React. I know how to do all these kinds of things. And maybe it's not the most optimal way of doing stuff, but like, or the best, or even the simplest. But it is the way that like I just picked, and now that's just what I know. So, journey started almost 30 years ago. Moo tools, prototype, vanilla, etc. Yeah, that's I feel like 30 years ago, you could have still had hope, and you would have looked at some of this stuff and been like, maybe there's a bright future. maybe some interesting technologies will be built. But now it just feels like we're just cramming JavaScript into just everything, and it's just like, Like my first, like I want to subvert the whole system at this point. So my first order of business is to build desktop apps that people will use, right? So like I don't know if you can let me know if you kept up with my last stream where I've been working on this blogging application, but I want to get people, first and foremost, we have to get people off the web. Because the web is so many layers of abstraction and nonsense, and I've ranted about this almost every single time now. But it's why I'm working on desktop applications, is because like the web is just so many layers of indirection and misdirection and nonsense. It's just insane. Like first you have to have a browser, and you can stop me if you've already heard me go over this. But first you have to have a browser, then you have to have JavaScript and this whole V8 engine, whatever it may be, just built into the browser. Then you have to, like most people are working with these like kind of insane frameworks, and then past the browser there needs to be like DNS, and then past DNS behind that there's some sort of server somewhere, and then past the server finally is the database. And by then, again, like I'm using Medium, I'm not owning any of my data. Everything is probably some insane JavaScript mess that's spying on me and tracking my entire footprint on the web. It just all feels wrong. And so my first order of business is to hopefully build desktop apps to get some, just get some people off the web a little bit. And then after that, hopefully if the space grows, maybe there will be new standards and new things we can build and stuff like that. That is why I like using Elixir Phoenix Live View. I have not tuned into a stream recently, unfortunately. Yeah, so you can see like kind of like the system that I'm planning to work on here. So if I go to like the blog app, for instance, and I do pm run Tauri dev here. So my hope is, and it's obviously it would boot up faster than this, if it was like a thing, like I didn't have to build it. But like my hope is we can build stuff like that is, just as usable and this kind of stuff into a desktop application. That what I can do is I can download all of my blogs and all of the blogs that I'm interested in reading. I can download it onto my own machine. I do not need I can have a local database for this, but I don't need a database in the cloud somewhere for, kilobytes of text, right? Like I can like store this on my machine, and then like, you can hop on a plane, you can read it, you can keep all of the data, and you can own your own data. And then we can just like communicate over like things like relays, right? So we have like a blogging application here, so I can like click on a blog, read it, that kind of thing. Go back. I need like a back button. Got a little recipe here. Got a little decentralized comment section running over Relay as well, so I can post that comment there and test, and then that'll go out there as a kind one note on the Nostr network. And then, so click on this, right? And then we can all just plug into this, and then we can just relay messages. And that's my hope. Dig it? How do you deploy it? Well, I wouldn't deploy it. There's nothing to deploy. I just give somebody the desktop app. That's it. And then the way the communication happens is over Relay. So we literally just send each other messages over relays, and that's it. And the database, the Relay database, could be run by me, it could be run by you, it could be run by some third party, and it could be run by everybody could be running that database. And then we just send our notes to all of those databases. And then you just pull them in. You just sign it with a public-private key pair, and that's it. And then we don't need all these layers of indirection. We don't need servers in front of, well, it's still kind of servers in front of databases in some sense, but it's not like a central one place where like all of my data lives. Let's see. Tauri has distribution tools as well, upgrades, etc. Yeah, it's nice that you can do like in-app updates and stuff like that. It's very cool. My moment. I own my data watching this through Tor at the moment. Fair enough. The JavaScript is loaded without Tor though. Right. I started looking into it building a ham radio application using web technologies. Looking into it. Oh, for Tauri? Yeah, that would be really cool. That's the thing. The stuff that I feel like we just left radio behind. Like, radio is also a super interesting technology. The web has like ruined everything. Like, everybody's just like stuck on the web now, and like we're all like, and like the internet and like this stuff. There's so many other interesting technologies out there that like remain unexplored. But it would be so cool if, like, yeah, like we could build radio into some of these things or something like that. It's another awesome application. Sorry about yesterday. Yeah, it's no problem. I think that was a good exercise yesterday. I think that was a good exercise to go through some of the limitations that are present. And I wanted to I wanted to reiterate that I need to be challenged and prove that I'm correct on these things, because if I think there's an issue where there isn't one, I mean, I'd love to be proven wrong. So it's no problem. And it's. I don't mind. I like going through those exercises. Using GNOME on Arch? No, I'm using Pop! OS. I don't have time for Arch right now. I think I have that functionality we were discussing yesterday. They would have to implement on the relays. Yeah. So I actually pinged the Noster dev chat on Telegram about this, and nobody answered me. So I'm going to just keep pinging like daily until someone answers me. Well, we're also going to have our own relay implementation soon. So I'm kind of hoping maybe we can just develop that. I feel like it shouldn't be that hard to just reverse the list that's sent back at the relay level. But yeah. But yeah, I mean, you can build really handsome desktop apps though. And I feel like there's no reason we shouldn't be. Like, and then everybody can own their data. And I can post to this from NeoVim. And I can post to this from the web if I want to. And I can post to this from another app, which is also nice. Oh, well, yeah. So if this right here is just all the new events that are coming. So one way you might filter is by following. One way you might filter is through tag. So for instance, if I'm just interested in, let's see, tech, right? So now all of the things that have a tag for tech are going to be here. This actually might be a good read. Now, also, I want to be able to bookmark this. And you can see, look, I didn't write these comments. I don't know where these comments are coming from, but look, I can read the comments, which is great. I decided to switch to Pop! OS, and it really messed me up hard. Really? How? NeoVim is mid, mousepad is better. I agree. I don't know what I'm agreeing to. I don't know what the hell mousepad is. But sure. How did Pop! OS mess you up? I feel like I literally have never been so productive making shit as when I started using Pop! OS. Don't like that much of the new Noster tools. You have too much WebSockets exposed. I like more of the previous iteration. What do you mean by too much of the WebSockets exposed? I feel like less is exposed. Less of the how do I say this? Less of the common ways you would expect to interact with a WebSocket. Like it's more abstract. I would say that the new Noster tool stuff has abstracted it, and I think that's good. Why are you agreeing? Right? I don't know. Cause what are we talking about? Anyway, I would like to know how that messed you up. How's it going, Medusa Collins? When you say relay, what do you mean in this instance? Yeah, okay. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about, because what I'm talking about is Noster in this case, right? So I feel like a lot of people get Noster mixed up because it kind of like was born in near crypto projects and stuff like that. They think it's some sort of like blockchain or crypto or some bullshit, and it's not, right? It's literally just using the most primitive web technologies that it's not anything like that, right? It's literally just a new way for us all to come, and like it's kind of like Blue Sky in a way, right? It's like a protocol we can all use, like a common protocol we can all use to relay information to each other. So if I go to Noster here, a simple protocol for social network with a chance of working, right? So like Jack Dorsey, the guy who was one of the founders of Twitter, he sent this guy named Fiat Jaff. He sent him a bunch of money recently to kind of develop on this protocol, right? So basically the way that it works, let me see. I haven't used Excalibur. I don't know if like I could. Basically the way that it works is we have, can I like delete this somehow? Delete, maybe if I use the eraser. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So we have some relays. And these are just like kind of like, these like there could be X amount of these, right? And then we have clients. Whoops. And I can't draw like a perfect circle. Is there any way to like always draw the same like size shape in this thing? I have to learn how to use this thing better. And then the way that it works is it could be any number of clients. Like this right now, this blog application here is a client. And then how it works is you can write your data to this relay, and you can write your data to this relay, and then you can write your data. And maybe you just write to these two relays, right? And then this one writes to this one, and this one writes here, right? And so like these relays, these are like kind of like our databases in a sense, right? So each one of these clients just writes to these, and then each one of these clients can read from these. And we all use the same exact event type. So we all just use one JSON object. And then with that, I mean, you can kind of do, you can do a lot. And I'm not doing a great job of kind of explaining how this is working with this little box and circle thing. But we can build things. I can show you some websites, right? Like for instance, let's look at it this way. Let's go to blogstack.io. This is another application that I built on top of this. And you can see, like, I'm not like filtering all of the content that's coming in. So like, this is just the newest content. We're eventually going to do something where we can like feature content, and we could filter better and make sure that it's actual content that goes through an algorithm first to show to users, right? But you can see like, okay, you see this test recipe, right? Remember that? That's also here. How's that possible, right? Look, if we go, this thing it doesn't seem to be working like, the comment box here doesn't seem to be working perfectly, but you can see we have the same exact data in the desktop app as we do on the website. But also, if we go to abla.news, and then if we go out of featured and we just go to all, and here's the test recipe, right? So now I have a way, and I'm not doing a great job with like my diagramming there, but I have a way so that I can post a note to a relay, and a relay, all it does is just kind of relay that information over the web, right? And so now we have the ability to not need a database that's hiding behind like Twitter, you know what I mean? Or some third-party kind of application. So not only can we do this with blogs, but we can do this with like tweets in a sense. I'll call them tweets. So it's not primal.news. It's primal.net, right? So this is another one. I just connect with a little extension here. Yeah. Now, we're still pretty early in the game with these, but now, okay, now we have tweets that we can do the same exact thing with. So these tweets that are on Primal, the same ones will be available on snort.social, which is like another Twitter clone kind of thing. Right? That's not good. So, so you can see that like we have these different applications all pulling from the same data source in some sense, right? What else? I don't know. Hopefully that kind of gets the point across. I'm not always the best at explaining things. Just decentralized data stores. Yes, with a common data model so that we all know what to expect. You send the message to a different server. The server sends a message to the main server. There is no main server. There's no main server. With a common language. Right. The common language being, if you go to Noster NIPS. And so these are proposals to the protocol, right? None of these proposals matter pretty much at all except for kind ones, where this is the entire object that gets sent around. This is it. So you have an ID, you have when you created it, you have the public key that's associated with it. So it's just a private public key pair. It's like just so you can sign something saying that it's yours, right? And this is not blockchain technology. This is not some newfangled, like, oh, wow, like some nonsense. It has nothing to do with that. This is like internet. This is like cryptographic primitives. This is like the most primitive thing ever, a private public key pair. So then once you create the event, you sign it, right? And then you have some content. So for instance, the content for this is Markdown. And so we use the same Markdown content across like, all these different applications, right? And yeah, that's, that's kind of it in a nutshell. I have trouble kind of explaining it, but maybe, hopefully some of that got through. There's also something about the Lightning Network that's the fancy part, not on a Nostr server. Right, and you don't need the Lightning Network though, right? Like you could not even have a payments layer on this if you didn't want to, but you do have the ability to do that as well. Where do you put ads on that? You can put ads. You can put ads. You can definitely put ads. I mean, the platform can put ads. So like if a platform adds something, right? Like, because we all use the same underlying protocol so that we can get access to the same data, but that platform can put an ad. Right? So that's something that you could do. Like right here at the platform layer, you can put an ad, but we have to distinguish the difference between platforms and protocols. And then we need to decide how much because right now, we're funneling everything through the platform. But what we should probably be doing is that we should be giving more to the protocol to handle, right? And then that way we're not stuck in these little echo chambers and little places like for instance, if Twitter goes away, some people are going to lose their entire identity. They're going to lose everything about themselves. If Twitter goes away, like it's just going to like ruin people, right? Versus if they had a profile on the protocol that they could prove was them, they can just bring that profile to another application later on. Right? So you don't have this vendor lock-in. So if you want to leave some platform, leave the platform. It's fine. And then just get some new subset of notes on some other platform. But you still have your same identity. Right. Like publishing a book into multiple libraries. If one library doesn't like you, use another one. Yeah, basically. You can edit the content if you're the owner of the private key every time. You can edit the content sometimes. You can edit the content if that's the kind of event that is editable. So there's events that are like kind ones that are not editable. And then there's an event range you can create. I know this seems a little complicated. We're going into the weeds now. But for these events kinds, so for kind 10,000 I think it's one of these. This one, yeah, 30,000 to 40,000. These are replaceable events. So these ones you can edit. These ones you would have to delete and then republish. I get you. I will need to see how it knows how to decrypt it on other side. We'll dig into this. Looks pretty cool. It looks pretty basic overall. It's super basic. And you immediately plug into a social network once you start using it. So there's like reasons to actually build applications, which is cool. Now, when we're talking about decryption, there is no decryption on the other side. You can encrypt the note. So you can go look at NIP4 if you want to read about how encryption might work, right? So we can do encryption where we can encrypt the content, right? So the content string that you send with your note can be encrypted, and then you can make sure that only the public key of the user you want to see can decrypt it. And of course you can decrypt it. But that's how you can send encrypted information. Now, my thinking is though, that we don't need to use Nostr for everything. I think Nostr is really good as a public social media kind of layer, like a social layer. But I think that we also should remember that, you know, different tools for different jobs are probably better. So like if we can get people back on the desktop again, then we can start getting peer, like I could then, in addition to using Nostr as like the protocol for like seeing blogs and things like this, then maybe I could use XMPP, or I can use Matrix or something like that for a peer-to-peer kind of conversation between two users in the desktop app, right? So that's another option. So where I don't need to use Nostr for everything, I can actually compose my applications in a different way using different protocols and things like this. Now, I don't know if that's too complicated for a user. I don't know what that looks like. I mean, I'm just kind of starting with these things, but you know, some of the stuff I'm thinking about. What is this even? I don't know what these are. Yep. There's a library. Yeah. Can you have group-specific content? I think so. It depends what you mean by that. I think it's possible there are tags you can work with. Also, the kind of the event matters a bit. Yes. But I don't know what group-specific would be. I don't know what these... All right, I know there's a kind that is used for articles. Yeah, and that's what I'm using here. So it's just nice because now, because everything's just a JSON object with some content, I can just save it on my local machine, and now I own all of my blogs. I own all of my tweets. I own all of my everything I post. You know what I mean? I own it. It's mine. I get to keep it. And if some relay doesn't want me to post there, some platform doesn't want me to post there, it's totally fine. My entire history and everything can be saved directly to my disk, or some other relay or whatever. And this is the best way to do it. This is how we should be doing it. I hate the modern web. I hate it all. We need to do something different. It is important to know the kind of events, yeah. Right. Yeah, they inform you about how you'll be reading specific tags from the content and all these kinds of things. All right, so that's kind of just an explanation of my blogging app. I love this blogging app though. It's right now it's just kind of spammy because this is like going to Reddit and then clicking on new and just getting every new event that comes into Reddit. So it's obviously going to look like garbage here. But when I go through and potentially add some sort of algorithm on top of like how to get these things, or mostly it could even function like RSS, where you click on like just the things you follow. Like why, you know, sometimes you wonder like why you even really need this exploration page all the time, right? Like just so you can just infinitely scroll through junk content for the most part until you find like a gem there, right? But I'm not even sure that I really even love an exploration page, to be quite honest with you. That may even be something that is bad for the human mind. So I want to make things that actually, I don't know, just something that doesn't lead us to where we are today, because it's horrible. The other extreme to the web is Gemini. I've seen Gemini, but I don't like Gemini. I've played around with it. I don't think that it actually answers. I don't think that it actually answers the problem. Just like I don't think Mastodon answers the problem. I don't think that ActivityPub answers this question. I don't think that Blue Sky answers this. It has an answer to this problem. I think that the first thing that I've seen so far that actually has an answer is NoStar. Right? It's just a shame that it's so tied seemingly. What about Bluebird? Do you mean Blue Sky? Yeah, Blue Sky. I don't think Blue Sky answers the question. I have a Blue Sky account. I think this Nostr thing solved it. I think it did solve it. I really do. And it's just one problem I have with Nostr is just that it's so too many Bitcoin people know about it, and so it feels like unapproachable to people who don't care about Bitcoin. And so that's a problem that I want to work on. And the other thing is it came out in a space and in a time where like all this other crypto shit exists. And I think that's also a problem because a lot of that is just garbage. So all of it is pretty much garbage. So that's another issue. People that are scared of cryptos run away. Yeah. And they should be. I mean, cryptos are like, so much of crypto is just scams. So I don't blame them. And then they like associate this. They're like, oh, there's a cryptographic key pair. It must be a blockchain. It's like, no, it's not. It's not a blockchain. So, anyway. But, so all right, rant over. Let's see if we can get the file system stuff working. Let's close this. Back over here. Okay. What's happening here? Okay. Oh yeah, that's the blog app. This is the signing up. We have the file example that we were working on. Okay. Even if it is a blockchain, blockchain is not a bad technology. Blockchain is not a bad technology, but it is such a cesspit at this point. Like, it is so full of just trash. It's just so full of just scams and garbage and trash and degenerates, and it's just not a place for normal people at all. It's not a place for me either. Like, even as someone who can understand a lot of the stuff that seems to be there, it just looks awful. Like, trading pictures, and not even pictures, like pointers to pictures on the blockchain. This is the most degenerate stuff. This just has to go. So, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of crypto stuff in general, to be honest. Or even blockchain stuff. I don't think everything needs a blockchain. Blockchain will never be able to handle massive throughput. That's another problem with blockchain, is that people think that you're just going to like solve every decentralized problem. Like, they think, like I say decentralized, even the word decentralized has a bad connotation now. Hey Chris, we talking blockchain cesspools? Yeah, we're talking blockchain cesspools. But I'm saying, like, it's blockchains. Like, all this stuff has completely poisoned an entire genre of technology, it seems. Like, you look at blockchains, and now I feel like the word decentralized is poisoned. I feel like I can't say decentralized without going, yeah, but it's not like a blockchain. It's not like this fucking stuff that's trying to scam you and sell you a picture of a zombie frog or something. You know what I mean? Like, it's we're not doing that. It's not what I mean by decentralized. And then, like, immediately it's just like, oh, decentralized. You know what I mean? It's just like, no, that's not what I'm trying to drive at here. And it's such a shame because like I say crypto, like this word crypto. You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, I'm using the crypto package in JavaScript, and there's an entire generation of like an entire subset of a generation of Zoomers who are going to import the crypto package, and they're going to think like, oh, crypto, like cryptocurrency, like you know, some shitcoin or something like this, and it's like, no, how about just like random or not random? How about just like basic cryptography? You know, like that's what we're talking about here. We're not talking about, and I feel like the word crypto has been poisoned. I feel like the word decentralized has been poisoned. Even blockchain has been poisoned. So it's like, it's a shame. It really is. And hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully what I'm saying makes sense. But I truly believe that a lot of concepts and things have been poisoned because of that entire space. Security warning, client implementation warning. Oh yeah, well, I don't care about this. I'm looking at NIP4. This doesn't matter to me right now. I'm trying to do stuff on my file system. So where did we even get to? I think I opened up my blog and then we didn't get much further. So I installed this, ran this, test app, blah, blah, blah. I don't think, did I install? Yeah, let's do pm install. But it almost feels like, yeah, like I always have to put like some disclaimer whenever I'm talking about things, because it's always like the disclaimer, no, this isn't a shitcoin. No, this isn't a blockchain. No, this isn't what you think it is. No, it's not a cryptocurrency. Crypto means economy, politics, and social. Is that what it means? Well, I feel like a lot of concepts are poison these days. Maybe it's just actually a symptom of our society at this point, because it feels like lots of concepts are completely poisoned. They're things that you just don't want to talk about. Like, if you talk about them, people will look at you sideways. You know what I mean? If you bring up like politics for whatever reason, it's just like, don't do that, because you might say the thing, it's not good, you know, that I don't like. It's going to be weird and awkward. So it's like, better not talk about anything important. Don't talk about anything important. Let's see here. So, okay, we got the base URL, we got paths, we got this. That's what we want. Oh, in today's perspective, yeah. Forgot the biggest advantage of Nostr is that you don't find the obnoxious, overly positive LinkedIn bros. I was thinking about turning my LinkedIn into like an AI-generated LinkedIn. Like, I was thinking about like posting a ton of shit on LinkedIn, but just like going to ChatGPT like every single day, and just like, I think someone else had done this, and they got an insane level of engagement on LinkedIn. And I'm thinking that might be like a good strategy. So I think we may do that as a social experiment during like all of my streams. I may just begin every stream, or like maybe like just at some point during the stream, just open up my LinkedIn, and then we'll open up ChatGPT, and then we'll just say like, give me a LinkedIn post about X technology. I'll just look up what's in the news. You know what I mean? And then I'll just have it say something. And then we'll see how like fast and how far I can grow my LinkedIn with just nonsense. Crypto is a technology that has a high barrier to entry. People who aren't in the tech space immediately think, how can they make tons of money from it? Yeah, exactly. It depends also what we mean by crypto here, right? Like, if we're talking about like real cryptography, like it's like not even on the table for most people to truly have a discussion about. But yeah, most, like a lot of bad actors have joined the space. LinkedIn feels so effing fake. I hate 90% of the people there. It feels fake. Everything feels fake these days, man. It's a mess. I long for like, I don't know. Everything seems to be getting really like, I don't know. Maybe it's just because, like, you know, I'm in my late 20s, so I feel like nostalgia for things that used to be here, but it just feels like, I don't know. Like, I don't like this new AI world that I find myself in. Left a bad taste in everyone's mouth. Yeah, but that's the thing. It left a bad taste in everyone's mouth. But all of the surrounding concepts around that space all got poisoned. Like, that's what I was saying. Like, you know, like all that stuff, that tech space, like they started using words again that they don't really understand. Try being 50. Yeah. I know, dude, you must really be like, ugh. How could you? Okay, so what are we in? 20 and that. Okay, so if we're imagine it's just 2020 and you're around 50. So then you were 30 in the year 2000. So then you were 10 in the 80s. Oh man, so you got to like live through like all of the 80s and some of the 70s too. That must have been cool. Like, I don't know. I just feel like there was such techno optimism back then too. Like, just looking at like, sometimes I'll look at like, for instance, if I go to like, maybe like this captures it pretty well. Just like this picture I've seen on here. Yeah, like just this. I don't know why, but when I look at this picture, it just reminds me of like what technology could have been. Like in just some like abstract weird way. I don't know why. Like I look at it and I'm just like, I miss like physical technology. When I was a kid, I had like I had a couple things. I had a cassette player, and then I had a DVD player that would only take one DVD at a time. Or not DVD. Well, I had a DVD player, but I mean like a CD player. And I had like a big bulky computer. I had like real physical things. I had like a stereo. I had like stuff like that. And yeah, now it just feels like you'd be lucky to get like a port on your MacBook these days, like that kind of thing. And everything feels so closed off. It's almost like when I was younger too, I used to play around with like cars and stuff like that. And I would fiddle around with my car a little bit. So I would like change my own oil. I would change my own brakes. I would do stuff like that. When I was like in my late teens. And now, then I got a car, later on, I got a 2018 Ford Fusion. And then I looked under the hood and it was just like a big plastic on top of the engine. And it's just like, it just becomes like non-serviceable by you. So then it's just like, oh, I got to take it to I don't know exactly what I'm trying to say, but all of these things just feel like they're culminating in like a space to where like everything is like anti-human at this point. Born in 1973. Man, I kind of wish I was born in 73. You're from 93? Oh, I didn't know you were older than me. Interesting. We're about the same age though. Yeah. You're just a little bit older than me. I was born in, yeah. How's it going, Garoda? That is why I'm into old cars, ham radio, building antennas. Yeah, that's based, 100%. Yeah, I was just talking. Me and my girlfriend, or actually fiance now. We got a set of walkie-talkies, and so like we'll just kind of like I don't know. It's just funny because like you'll be in one room in the house and she'll be in another room in the house, and you just put like the walkie-talkie on your hip. And I don't know. It's just, I don't know why, but it's just funny to have that. But they were like $20. And we gave them to her nieces when they came over. And it was just hilarious watching because like they don't have anything like that. And like when I was a kid, I had a walkie-talkie and it was hilarious. And like her nieces never had like a walkie-talkie. So like they never seen one before, but when we handed it to them, like they just like immediately knew how to use them, and we're just running around the house, just like I don't know, it's just funny. Soon talking about his Casio. I have a Casio watch too. That's because my smartwatch kept dying on me. That's what I'm saying. Like everything's anti-human. That's why I got the Casio watch, because it lasts for 7 years. I mean, all it can do is tell me the time, but you know. Whatever. Anyway, I keep getting sidetracked. Let's see how far we can get. And that's why, I mean, even this technology, these desktop apps, it's just me walking it back, I feel like, at this point. Like even with these desktop apps, these are not necessarily, I don't want to use React for my front end. I don't want to do these kinds of things, but like I want to see, but like I feel like I have to incrementally walk away from the web, and I need to show people like, okay, you can get like a web experience in a desktop app, but here are also some other benefits that maybe you might care about, like owning your data and that kind of thing. I operate in mostly Morse code on the radio these days. That's based, yeah. I only know a little bit about Morse code. I did computer engineering in college, so like we learned about it briefly. But that's another thing I miss. Like when I was doing computer engineering, there was such a focus on hardware in school, and I was given all these hardware boards, and I was soldering things, and I was doing low-level computing, all this kind of stuff. So much more fun. JavaScript is a nightmare. The modern web and these modern interfaces and all these things are just absolutely terrible. But like but it's just what people are like used to now. It's just like that's just what's there. So I don't know. And it's where most of the development happened. So this is just what we're kind of stuck with, I feel like, at this point. Nostalgia. Oh, Nostalgia. That is a good. Yeah, that is kind of a funny name for a Nostra app. This is why I love hardware, the synthesizer, so many knobs and switches. Yeah. This is why they're not going to get away with it, because there's a few people like us who just like, we want like physical things. The abstraction is too high. I agree. Yeah, yeah. Like I don't want, like if I want to turn up the volume on something, like I want to like go spin a dial, and I want to have like really good feedback. Like I want to feel that click in my hand, you know what I mean? And when I press a button, I want to feel that press, you know, that key press. I feel like this is why mechanical keyboards are so incredibly popular, you know. Build your own, yeah, see, there you go. It's the same world. People who want to build their own keyboard, want to tinker with their operating system, want to like, you know, like ham radio is probably interesting to them, and these kinds of things. Like I understand this world, but I don't really know how to like put my finger on it. I don't have like a word for it. We'll eventually get to an age where we can rewrite the entire JavaScript language using AI. Yeah, maybe. This is, you know, it's funny too. It's AI just feels like it's another, yeah, I don't know. Analog watches lately, nice. Yeah, there's definitely got to be something brewing in some people where it's just like, this is just not enjoyable anymore. Like, it's just not, I don't know. Bought a System 51 watch? Swatch? I've never heard of System 51. Anyway. Yeah, so let's see if we can continue here with our thing. So what we're going to do is import the path here at the top. Vite. It's kind of unprecedented. Just think of when AI will start improving upon itself. Serious stuff. Yeah, I feel like AI has a problem where it can't really move on its own, right? Like it's always going, like every AI at the end of the day, it seems always starts from some prompt, right? So like it's like whatever it does is going to be some weird derivative of whatever that prompt was that you gave it. I don't know, like I have trouble in my mind like thinking about like how an AI can like be its own real agent and like actually then like think. I don't know. I'm not really sold on like AI in a more general sense. I'm very sold on it being like good as like a tool for to make super productive people more productive right now. But I'm not sold on it being like its own entity, I guess, if that makes sense. Ferris sweep. Should I learn about this thing? What is a System 51 watch? Well, you called it a swatch. I don't know if that was on purpose. Oh, it is a swatch. Oh, it's a Swiss watch. Is that why? This looks comfy. The drones look less comfy, but this is like where I wanted to work when I was younger. When I was getting out of college, I always thought I would be working on some sort of like factory floor near like mechanical things or something like that. But instead, I just got put behind a desk. Like, I wanted to be near all of this kind of stuff. This looks awesome, though. What's this? Yeah. This brings back, like, this is cool, man. Like, this is, I guess this is the ham radio here. This has got, like, a lot of, it's got a lot of the, like, the older vibe, you know? I feel like now, instead of this, you get, like, let's see, like, modern, open, floor, space, office, tech. Let's see if we can get like an image that represents this. Yeah, like you get like this kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, and people replicate this in their home. Like this is what this is what software engineers' desks even look like in their own house, right? Whereas I feel like this image reminds me of like, I always kind of felt like I would be sitting at a desk where I had like some real equipment to work with. You know what I mean? Like some voltmeter for some reason I needed. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to tinker around with like electronics. I wanted to work with like microcontrollers and all these kinds of things, and have all that kind of stuff, and like have there be a need for it. I guess like that was my vision for being an engineer. Back to the Future vibes, yeah. Hybrid, tube radios are super cool too. But yeah, this has got, you see what, okay. Like, I don't know what I'm trying to capture with what I'm trying to say here. But like, this looks like it has some soul to it. Whereas when I look at this, or this, I just can't imagine. You know, like it just feels like it would suck the soul. This just feels like this is just like an energy draining. Like it just makes you feel depressed. You know, and then there's like I've worked in an open floor plan, and this is sometimes what it's more like, but it's still like the same thing. And then so I've worked in open floor plan offices, and I've also worked in when I worked at Lockheed, I worked in a cubicle farm, pretty much. And I worked, basically, not too far off from something like, you know. And I guess, you know, sometimes you can add a little bit of comfiness to it, but still, it's just, I think this was mostly similar to what it felt like, yeah. Yeah. This was me when I worked at Lockheed. This is basically what it was like. It's kind of like a Neo and cubicle. Yeah. It was like this, you know? And wait, what? Neo is seen in his cubicle at work. This is unrealistic as a standard American work box is 2x2. Yeah, I was gonna say this is even kind of big. Not really. Actually, yeah. Actually, it is. It's a little bit bigger. I would cut off a little bit of this, and then that would be about the size of the cubicles. And yeah, just no. It's missing. It's missing something. Just a human server farm, right? There's a human intervention, touchy-feely, you feel productive, right? Yeah. I don't know. Corporate America lacks knobs. Right? Yeah, we need knobs. I want to have knobs. I want to have lights like this. You see like this? Like, just, I don't know what these lights mean, but I know I want them. I don't know what these knobs do, but I know that I want to touch them. You know what I mean? Like that's just, maybe it's just because I'm from a time where knobs and little lights like this existed. And then I transitioned quickly out of it. So I was around for a little bit where we had like a stereo and we had different things, and then they kind of disappeared. And then I was handed a black box that fit in my hand. And then that black box has gone through so many, you know, it used to be that black box, you could actually open it up. And it was actually pretty easy to tinker around with the parts inside of it, but not so much anymore. Now everything's glued in. Like I have a MacBook, the battery's fucking glued in. It's like, why? Other than you're just trying to be anti-me and you're trying to make a ton of money, there's no good reason for the battery to be glued in. Like I could keep my MacBook. Maybe I don't have to replace the system on a chip processor and all that bullshit, but I could keep my MacBook and I could just like, you know, every now and then just go buy a battery from you guys for like $80 and just put a new, like, what is the problem? My friend works at Google and he says the offices are becoming like that, bleached, completely different from when he joined in 2012. It almost feels like it's on purpose. You know, that sucks. Yeah, right. But it almost feels like it's on purpose. Like, I don't know. I've been lucky. I've worked from home for all but a few years of my career. Right. Yeah, I've been working from home post-COVID. I worked in the cubicle situation at Lockheed for 1 year. And then I think I spent maybe 2 or 3 years working at the CTC in Philadelphia. So CTC Philly. Yeah. Yes, I think I remember. Yeah, this is like the cafe kind of area thing. And then they had one of these on every single floor. And yeah, this was the upstairs cafe, I think. No. Wait, this is the downstairs cafe. And yes, maybe there's some other pictures. Let's see if I'm trying to look for the open floor plan desks, but I don't know if we're going to be able to see them. I remember this little auditorium thing. But, yeah, no. So how it works is every floor would have something like this out here. And there's like microwaves and stuff like that over here to the right. And then that little window there, that's where there's just a giant, just open floor desk situation with, like, I guess, just developers and stuff like that walking around. When people did this, it was always extremely annoying because I would be, and this happened, but with much louder things, they had life-size Jenga. And, yeah. Then I would be like sitting over in the window, like past the windows over there, and I'd be sitting at my desk. And then like people would be like playing like, oh no, it was life-size Connect 4. And then like, it was so freaking loud when they would unlatch it and all the little things would like jump down. It was like anyway, yeah. Michigan. Look into the ham license and mess with Raspberry Pis, etc. It gives you some of that. Yeah, I need that. The world has become button pushers, almost screen pushers almost. They were robots pushing buttons, but in general are unaware of how to make decisions. Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the thing. They don't even know why. They're struggling to like keep up with all these JavaScript platforms, and they're just asking. I do want to like ask themselves like really like it feels like you're always so stressed to keep up with this stuff. And I guess it's for your job or for whatever, but it just, I don't know. Ping pong tables, yeah. It was so loud. When shit like this was going on, it was always so freaking loud. The purpose now is to have some fake plants on the restaurant and rooms as white as possible so the flesh robots are productive. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Kicker in the office? What do you mean by like a kicker? Like a speaker? But yeah, it was, I don't know. I don't like the cubicle farms. I don't like this kind of stuff. I'm not saying that there isn't room for like a workplace, I guess. I really enjoyed my time at the university or at college. Yeah, at university. It was, yeah. So I enjoyed my time at university because at university I felt like there was a lot of reason to explore. There was places to go to learn about things. There was like labs and stuff. That was just, I don't know. Let's get back to pairing on your app. That's a good point. So, all right. Now, where was I? So now we got to grab this path for V, and then we got to take this resolve situation here, pop this in. Okay, that's going to resolve the path. Then what we're going to do is initialize shad cn UI so I can get quick and easy UI components. TypeScript, yes. Default, we'll go with default. I'm going to go with neutral, and then we'll do, I'm going to put the CSS file at styles, globals.css. Would you like to use CSS variables? Yeah. No. Right there. And then we'll do components like that. And then we'll do like lib utils. There we go. React server components. No. Create the components.json. This is another thing I like about React is that I don't know if shadcn exists for Svelte, but it does exist for React. So, all right, put that stupid thing. I hate when it does that shit. What did I do wrong? What don't you like? Okay, the styles thing ended up in there. And why would that be? Styles, components. Everything else probably went in the right place. Let's see. If we go to lib, yeah, that's in the right spot. Strange. All right, let's just remove that then. And oh, well, shit. I should have moved it, not removed it, but luckily I have the exact same file somewhere else. So let's do this from scratch. So I'm going to make dear styles like this. I'm going to go inside of there, and then I'm going to copy from another project like the blog app inside of source, inside of styles, the global CSS. I'm going to pop that in here. I'm going to open this up though because I have some extra styles that we're not going to need, like the stuff that goes with no comment. So let's toss that like this. Okay. And so now what we can do is we're going to need to add this to the top of our Tailwind config. We don't need the other content there. And adding UI components. Now we're going to add a button and just make sure that it's there. All right, well, that's pretty much it. You created styles in your home directory? No, so I like to use the tilde. I like to use this tilde to like denote that it is a local import in my project. So it's not actually from the home directory, but I use the tilde instead of the @ sign because the @ sign is being used a lot for people to scope their packages. So when I look up there and I see like @ and I'm trying to use like @ to use as my path alias, then I'm like, is this coming from a package or is it coming from something local? So I like to just change it to the tilde for that. You could change it to something else if you wanted to. Like you could probably change it to like, probably like even a % sign. You know what I mean? Or you could change it to like something else, right? But I like to use the tilde for that. It just kind of makes sense for me. So Chris, when I was telling you about Noster apps, is that how now you've closed the socket manually, or am I wrong? In the previous iteration, when you were doing a list or pull, it would close. No, you had to manually close the other ones too. You had to manually close the other ones too. I don't even use the @ I just change it to nothing. Huh. Interesting. That might be a good way to do it as well. I'm used to the @ but I think that's an interesting take on it. Like import header from layout. Yeah, that's interesting, yeah. Maybe I'll try that one day in the future. But I don't like using the @ because of everybody scoping everything under @ like that just ruined that for me. So, okay. So now we have this. Let's do pnpm run Tauri dev, and now we'll have this spun up. We're going to have to go and grab that plugin from these things. Everything from here on we can close. And we don't need these things. Here we go. And then now instead of the beta docs, let's see if we can get some recipes for the file system. Here we go. V1, this would be for the file system. That should work. And then we can maybe look at some other references and things like that. This could take a while to build though. I gotta check this other thing. Okay, yeah, what is that? All right, where are we at? This is gonna take too long. On your Mac would have done it in 1/10 of the time. I agree. Yeah, how's it going, Black Phoenix? But I mean, it's not like this is supposed to be like a slow computer or anything. I mean, it's on freaking fire right now trying to do this. Like I'm touching it. Like if I left my finger on there, I'd have like a first-degree burn. But I don't know. I guess there's just not much I can really do about that. I guess everything's just going to be system on a chip soon, though. Looks like we're moving to an ARM world. I don't know how anyone uses like laptops besides like the MacBook Airs though. No fans, cold to the touch even while compiling. Yeah, all of the claims about the M processors where they blew me away, there's like totally true. How long are you planning to carry on this live? Oh, I don't know. Probably a little while. I want to at least, until hopefully I get some basic interaction with my file system from the Tauri app. If I can like write a file, like that's the hard part. Once I'm like, okay, I have access and I can do work, then we can go from there. My laptop was at 90 degrees for like a year before I figured out how to fix it. What did you do to fix it? Because mine is like, like this laptop is always like burning hot. I guess right now we are compiling though. So like we're at 100% on all cores. Put it in the fridge. There you go. Planning to access the file system from Rust. I'm planning to access the file system via bindings in the front end with JavaScript, but the API, is under the hood. It's written in Rust. Finally creating the binary. Here we go. What kind of CPU do I have? I think it's an 11th gen Intel i7. Yeah, 11th gen Intel Core i7, 1165, blah, 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 and 8 cores. I got 40 gigs of RAM here, so we're not going to run out of RAM. I do have a terabyte drive in there too that I want to switch it over to. And yeah, it's a System 76 Lemur Pro. I'm just running the stock Pop OS that came with the laptop. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I think they only have Intel chips for this series. I don't think they have AMD chips. What's the Newfie? Just the Newfie 75. I think it's their first generation Newfies. Yeah, I guess we'll see how long this laptop survives. All right, so we got that spun up. Now we'll go back here. File example. And let's do... let's think. So, gotta open this up. Gotta go here. Main. And we gotta add a plugin. Now, I would like to find all those recipes and things that we had before. Guides maybe? Making your own CLI, calling from the front end, events, we know all this. Distribution, building, testing, debugging, development? No. They had like a thing. They had like a thing for the other one. Where there were like examples. I literally cannot find docs to do the shit I want to do. Anyway, let's go look up the, well, okay, we're in the plugins workspace over here. And so what we'll do is, I'm assuming the metadata thing is still there. I want to pull in all the stuff though, so let's, there's two different plugins I want to pull in. We want V1. And I have FS Extra and FS Watch. So I'm just going to pull these in. I don't really know what FS Extra gives me, but there's got to be docs somewhere. Is there really no documentation anywhere for this? Like, where does it exist? Am I just crazy? Like, what am I missing? Yeah, I thought about that with the comments, but then there's definitely situations where there would be, like, it's probably fine right now to pull down all of them and then just reverse the list. Like, yeah. But I'm thinking, like, in the future. No docs. You got to look at the source code to figure it out. That's all right. That's all right. We can do that. let me put that there actually. Save that. And then I'm going to want to add the guest bindings as well. Okay. Why does this not work? Like, why put this here if it just clearly doesn't work? Like, who can use this? Oh, this is finally done. Recompiling. No match is found. V1. Even in the future, look at Twitter, even if you get a few K. I doubt that Twitter is pulling down all of the comments and then reversing the list, though. And also, we're getting everything over WebSocket. We're not doing stuff over HTTP. That's also another bottleneck. All right, so then how do I install this stupid thing? Like, what? How? I feel like there's not... Okay, Tauri file system example. Okay. Oh, goodness. Yeah, but I want to see like the... Because I want to play around with the watching thing, and I want to be able to install the plugin, but like, I can't. Because I'm going to need that watcher for something I want to do. Yeah, I know I could probably use their file system like that. That's true, but I want to complicate things. And I feel like there's got to be some sort of security model here that thing is handling. Let's see if we look up the watch example. We provide read-only mirrors of each plugin. I'm so confused. Like, okay, wait a minute. There are 3 general methods of installation that we can recommend. Using crates.io and npm, easiest and requires you to trust that our publishing pipeline worked. Is that what this is doing? Pull sources directly from GitHub using git tags. Is that what this is doing? Git submodules, install this repo into your Tauri project and then use file protocol to ingest. No. Install the core plugin by adding the following. You can install the JavaScript guest bindings. Okay, can I just see if, like, for instance, oh shit. Damn it. No, we're lost. the cargo approach. So, okay, if I do this, are the guest bindings installed? Like if I installed it like this, maybe there's another cargo approach I can use. But if I do that, then if I then go and open up the source, app.tsx, will I be able to import the stuff without installing explicitly? Well, oh shit, did I put the plugin there? No, gotta do that. So let me take a look at the cargo TOML. This is the FS Extra. This is FS Watch. That's the other one that I want. Okay, so we want both of those. So then we would expect maybe that I could pull this in. Here. But that doesn't exist. So then I need to install it somehow. Once you add it to the dependencies, do cargo build. I think it automatically builds, but I'll go back and try that. So if I do source Tauri, do cargo build. Okay, and then that's built. I would hope. Maybe it's still building, I don't know. But I still don't think I'm going to have the guest bindings. File example. Like this is still going to fail. Oh. Well, yeah, the way I want to do it is I want to be able to use these guest bindings, though. I want to be able to do that. So I can just hopefully do it without thinking. I don't know why this isn't working. I probably can... All right, we did pm add, and then let's see. We did at Tauri apps and then plugin fs. So, okay, let's go take a look at what's out there. So if I do npm, it looks like they're just not going to advertise these packages. And then we look up at Tauri apps. Okay, there's API, CLI, plugin shell, plugin FS, plugin process. It looks like, is this everything that exists? And these are all alpha. Yeah. Kind of sucks. Like their documentation, like maybe I'm just not finding it, but like maybe I must be missing something like glaringly obvious. Like if I just do Tauri, they have plugins. How do you use them? Like I guess the only thing I can do is I have this pm add thing situation here, but that's just not working for me. So pm add from git repo not working. Yeah, so that's the remote URL. So then, okay, what if I yeah, I can click on it. It exists. It's right here. So we know that it's there. So https github.com Tauri-apps Tauri plugin-fs watch and then hashtag v1. Okay. But then no match is found. Weird. What if I try to do it with npm? No match is found. What if I try to do it in bash? Okay. Z shell was the culprit here. That's strange. Why? Okay, so thank you, Z shell. Amazing. Look at that. Super cool Z shell super hacker terminal for geniuses only. Alright, so FS Watch, we installed that one. That's finally solved. Who would have thought that'd be the solution? I would have thought that'd be the solution. Years of experience would have thought that would be the solution. God. Let's try something here with this. Let's try pm add this. And then we're just going to put a nice little string around it. There we go. I'll probably put maybe a PR in for them. And just be like, look, it can't hurt to just pass this thing as a string, because I think if I had to guess, Z shell is complaining about the hashtag. It's time to switch to fish. Yeah. That's what it was. Wow. All right. Cool. Cool. So we can move on now. What a fun little bug. So now let's go in here, and now we can go to this. We have both of the plugins installed at the core layer, and then now we've also installed the guest bindings. So the guest bindings are going to allow us to operate inside of JavaScript so that we can just use, like, you know, we can just do things the easy way. So now let's swap this function out here, and then let's get rid of this state there, and then we'll go down here, get rid of this stupid form here that we don't need, and this greeting message. And then we're gonna pop, like we did before, under here, we're just gonna put a nice little button on click, and we're gonna run the greet function, and I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna pass a div around it so it's got a little space. That, and we'll come over here, class name, and then we'll say my-8. All right, we'll go like that, and we won't put in the new CSS, I guess, for now. So now what this thing's going to do is we can watch the file system, but what I would rather do actually is work with the other one for now, because I feel like that one's easier to understand rather than watching a file system, because we're going to have to listen for events and nonsense like this. So if we pull in the metadata thing here, we may need to go and do the other thing as well. But okay, we'll wait. Metadata path to file. Hopefully that returns something. What a mess. So, okay, so let's do, okay, like that, and then say const results is equal to the return value of this. Const results is equal to that, like this. Okay, it gives me back a metadata object, so then if I do console.log this thing, results, and can I log it? What's your problem? Identifier expected? Oh, yeah, there we go. Okay, now this is of type metadata, and on metadata it has some, okay, it has some information. So maybe we'll just say like is file. We can just get a Boolean about whether or not something actually is a file. And now there's some path to the file. I did change this to, so it should be a file. Now we may have to actually update this. But if we go Christian, like this, and we do hello, txt, because we know that's there. Then we're going to console log that result. Oops. We know, we're pretty sure that's going to fail because it's going to be forbidden, but we might as well just, you know, run it, see what happens. Okay. I think I know why that is. So that is probably because, if we go here, yes, we have got to actually instantiate our plugins. So we have the guest bindings, but we never actually put the plugin in. So let's go do that. It's probably going to need to rebuild the second that I change this. Yes, there we go. We can probably watch the builder. I think that's this here. Yeah. Nope. That's what it was. Oh my Z shell? Nah, no oh my Z shell. That's why I made Zap. That's why Zap exists. So we don't have to use oh my Z shell. Welcome to the dark side. Where's the face cam? We're not doing this. I don't think it really adds anything. And then I have to make sure I always look pretty. So, yeah. Time to switch to TCSH? No, certainly not. I don't even know what that is. Did you? Yep, that's what it was. Just get a desktop. Maybe in the future. So now we have this, we have that. Okay, the plugin should exist. Everything's rebuilt. We'll do greet. Now we gotta do an inspect. Console here. True. I didn't even need to put the allow stuff. Cool. All right, and then is file. And so then now if I change this to drop off the T and I press the button, I have an OS. I wish it would have given me back false. No such file order. What the hell is the... Okay, whatever, that's fine. Sure. So I guess we could just always wrap this or something, or handle that, put it in like a try catch or something. But okay, it's there. Nice. That's good. So we can get metadata about files. So like what else might we want to know about this file? What the hell does dev mean? What is this? What is that? Dev? The ID of the device containing the file, only available on Unix. Sure, let's do that. Ah, that's the device ID. 66307. Okay, what else we got here? GID? What's a GID? The group ID of the owner of this file. Okay, well, maybe we'll take a look at that. All right, that's the group ID. What else we got? Created at is a symlink. Oh, that's nice. So I can tell if it's a symlink or not. permissions, modify that, size, maybe size of this text file that has nothing in it, 0, yeah. All right, so that's cool. Now this is stuff from extras. What else exists in extras? So something I can do in with CMP and NeoVim is I just do control space when I'm here, and then I don't have to like start typing anything. I can just see like what's here available for me. So okay, we have the type for metadata. We have permissions. We have exists. Is that it? That's all that's in extras? Why do I feel like more should be in here? Okay, so extras literally just allows us to get metadata about files. All right, thank you. Great, very, very cool. Okay, so now if I want to work with the file system directly, make sure I look right. Catch, yeah, I know. I just kind of wish it gave me back false or something. Well, I guess because it can't, but yeah, I want a result. I don't know, whatever. No, yeah, that's hilarious. Are you trying to build something with this? Yes. Yeah, I am. I'm trying. So, okay, I have there's a couple things I want to do with it. One of the things, well, I don't have my blog app up, but hopefully you saw the other streams where I was building a blog application. And basically what I want to be able to do, and if you haven't, maybe I'll pull up the blog application, but what I want to be able to do is save blogs from that application locally. I want to save them from other people. I want you to be able to save your own. And then also I have a naive approach for signing events, which is going to be using the file system. All right, Black Phoenix, see you later. But yeah, so I have a couple reasons that I want to use the file system. One reason, what is this? Tauri plugin, FS Extra, RS. Yeah, that's it. That's all that's there. One async function called metadata. And exists. Yep. That's the long and the short of it. Yeah, there is an exists. So I guess, well, I guess I could do exists first. Right. Yeah, we could do that. That's nice to have, I guess, because if this doesn't exist in the basic file system stuff, it's nice to have being able to check if a file exists. If it does exist, then you can get maybe some metadata about it, and then like maybe some of that is important. I guess maybe this is the only way to be able to tell if it's a file or a directory. I don't know. But yeah, maybe you should know that. And these are all Unix related things, I guess. So we probably want to steer clear of just using anything like that. Maybe some of this other stuff will matter. I don't know. If I understand correctly, you want to give your blog site access to this Linux file system. No. I want blog site. No, I want my desktop to be able to have access to the Linux file system. So, like, if we look at the app, I'll just take down this app for a second. It should be easy to like bring it back up. But if we look at the blog app, pm run Tauri dev. So give this a second. Clearly it would be faster if, you know. But yeah, so this is the blog application that I built in the last couple streams. And so what I want to be able to do is the blogs that you post, or any blog, like you could just click on this and just be like, save. You know what I mean? And then you could just save a copy of it locally. And then you could save all of your own blogs locally. So that, you know, for instance, like I was saying before, like Medium, like if I post to Medium, like I don't own this blog anymore. You know, like if Medium goes down, like this is gone forever. And so I want to be able to save all of my own blog content and stuff like that. So with this desktop app, I can like kind of browse different blogs and read them and stuff like that. And then I can also save blogs directly onto my disk. That's what I want to be able to do. Bookmark instead of save. Well, I want to be able to save them too, so I can read them offline. Bookmarking's good. I can keep a list of pointers to specific blog posts, and if I have that list of pointers, then I can, well, I could save that list of pointers locally too, which is nice. But I can also then check if the pointer to the blog that I want to read is on my local file system, and if it is, I don't need to make a call. I don't need to make like a call out to the web for that blog. Right. So local copy, so you can redistribute to another relay as well. Right. Yeah. So I can, and then if all the relays for some reason decide that they don't want to host my content anymore, well, that's also fine. I will just I'll have them locally on my machine, and then I'll spin up my own relay and I'll host them from my own relay. Oh, thanks for taking the time to explain. Makes sense. Yeah. Definitely not from the site. But, we do also have the site. So, you can also see all the same stuff on blogstack.io. So it's also cool because everything you post from your desktop, you're going to hook into a social layer. Now, obviously, like I said before, this is all junk. But, see, like that test recipe is right there. I got the test recipe on the blog, the desktop. So then I can click save file, and then I have this file saved onto my local machine. So then I don't need to go on the web anymore to read it. I would treat bookmark as save. Yeah, you could. You definitely could. Under the hood, every single time you bookmark something, save it to the disk. I mean, it's a JSON object. I mean, how big could it be, right? The only thing I don't like about this concept, finding a relay that has the info you want on it, is not censored, etc. Well, it's fine because all of the content that you want on it likely can get on it very fast. You have to understand too, like, okay, for instance, I have another button here that's called broadcast. So what I can do is, and I can make this easy for everybody to do it, so you could expect that like all of the content should be found across most of the relays, because now a user can just click directly on this and then they can just publish this event. And they don't need to sign it. They don't need to do anything because it's already signed by this user who created it. And so now I can broadcast it to any relay I want to broadcast it to. I mean, I could write a cron job that just listens for new events from this particular poster, and every single time that he posts a new event on the relay that I see him on and that he typically uses, I can then broadcast it to 1,000 relays if there's 1,000 relays, right? So broadcasting is going to, I think, play a big role in the ability for you to get copies across different relays and stuff like that. I would be worried about exposing the file system to an app that's connected online. Well, yeah, that kind of makes sense. But I feel like that's kind of the, like for instance, like Spotify, like you can save music locally so you can listen to it later, right? So it's connected online, but the only way that it's connected online is just to pull down JSON objects. So it's not like, I don't know. If you own a relay and talk about cookies and you hate cookies and want to block anyone talking about cookies, I need to find a new relay and track down the data, right? Well, the idea is that you won't ever really be reading from only one relay at a time anyway. You'll be reading from multiple relays at the same time. And yeah, that is what the file system whitelist, blacklist things are for, right? Right. You trust it to only pull down JSON objects. Right. Well, I mean, I trust it to only pull down JSON objects because I'm writing the code. But now some other person who might install this application might not trust that, right? And just like you trust Spotify to only, you know, I mean, when you deal with Spotify, like certainly it has access to your file system when you download music and things like this. I mean, I'm sure it's doing other things on your file system as well. And it has internet access. So I think there are plenty of instances of apps that need access to the file system, but then also connect to the internet. And yeah, you do need system. Yeah, there also are system permissions. Right. So like, yeah. So like on a Mac, you've probably gotten a pop-up that says like, allow this program access to this file, right? Or this folder or something like that. And then you say yes or no. VS Code is an app you install, access to the internet, and you install plugins with a click of a button. Yeah, I mean, VS Code, I mean, everybody uses it. And you're literally getting, like, they're sending every keystroke back to Microsoft. So I don't think that this particular concern is super warranted, I guess. I don't think it's that big of a problem. I don't think so. And again, like we were talking about, like we can limit access to only certain directories in the file system. So I think I'm okay with this. You just can't. What do you mean by you just can't? Just comes down to the dev to restrict file paths and types. Yeah, and that's what that's Tauri provides that. Like they provide like a way, they have an allow list, right? This is Andy from YouTube. Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, I think I'm not super worried about this. Like, for instance, VS Code uses your file system, and again, it is connected to the internet. Like, you can pull down, like everyone's saying, you can pull down, like, GitHub repositories with plugins in them. I mean, what do they do? You know what I mean? Like, who knows? They register with the marketplace. You can install them. I mean, you might think you're installing a color scheme, and then it's something totally different, right? And it's certain, like VS Code certainly has access to your file system. So and it has access to different pieces of your file system. Like VS Code has access to your cache, has access to your config directories, your local share directory. So my initial question was just me trying to discuss the point. I'm not. Okay, gotcha. Well, now I am. I'm thinking about it. You got me worried about it. Yeah. Same for mobile, but I never went deep enough to know how local storage works. Well, mobile, this is not how I would really... I don't really care about mobile as much in this scenario. I think mobile... VS Code is Microsoft, so kind of know where to point the finger. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, in this, you're not going to really, I don't know. It's not going to be as easy. But also, you don't have to save anything if you don't click the buttons to save. Again, you have to trust that the application isn't going to do that. I mean, technically, you're already kind of saving. I mean, it's not access to your file system, but like these JSON objects are on my computer right now. You know what I mean? Like they're saved in some sense on my computer, just not, they don't have access to my wider file system. But... Right. It's not the same with Mastodon and Blue Sky. It's a different thing. Mastodon and Blue Sky are federated, and you have to join some sort of server, and then that server, it's kind of, it's definitely not the same thing. Hi, do you know that ECMA 2024 provides something similar to multi-threading? Nope, I had no idea that ECMA 2024 was even a thing. But yeah, Mastodon is like, it's not the same thing, because you don't really own your identity as far as I understand on Mastodon. Like you don't own really anything. You just join like a little group server, and then that server can join some other federation, and then blah, 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 blah. Check bullet 3. Right. And there's also another one called Stronghold as well. We access it from Rust. APIs, we got to be async. Yeah. Create a settings.json file in the apps data directory. Right. Oh, yeah, so that's a good way to store things. You do if you're self-host, though. Do what? Sorry. I might have missed the context there. Anyway, let me close this now. Oops. Rerun that. And what I want to see is how to interact with the basic file system, I guess. I have such trouble understanding this. Tauri file system. FS. Okay, here we go. Looks like exists already exist in that, though. Right? Like, we already have this exist thing, so it's like, why do we even need the FS extra? I guess maybe just metadata? I wonder if metadata exists here as well. That'd be like, what even is this for? No, it looks like it doesn't. Exist does, yeah. Dear exists, read. So metadata is kind of the only thing. Copy file, create. So let's see if we can like maybe write, because there's writing, reading binary files. So, I don't know, maybe actually we'll read a file. Read text by file. Maybe we'll do that. And then const result. Would that work? And then console log the result. And then actually let's what is this result? It's a string. So maybe what we'll do, const text, set text, initial state will be nothing, and then we'll do set text to the results, and then we'll come down here and we'll just put like a little, whoops, little p tag, and then we'll just put the results. Oh, not the result, text. Okay, so now then what we want to do is, okay, we're using that one. Testing 1, 2, 3. Press this, and we had a failure, it seems. This could be the allow list. You must enable one of its APIs in the allow list. Okay, so now the allow list exists. And that's in here. This is the allow list. Yeah, I guess that's just not in Tauri 2.0 or whatever. And then we want to do fs. And I think there was like all. It's true? What is this bullshit? Oh, okay. But I don't think that's going to give me access to my home directory. Oh, you do if you self-host. Yeah. But the problem with that is like where, what level of abstraction are your users expected to like keep control of, right? Like if you self-host with Mastodon, then you have to self-host, which means you need to host something. Whereas on Nostr, you just have to have a public-private key pair, and that's it. Okay, still a failure. Inspect element. Source it? No. Right, so that's not allowed in that scope. Limited to relative file paths. Yeah, I mean, it depends. I mean, you could probably just write your own Rust file system invoke, right? Like you could probably do that. See, this module prevents path traversal, not allowing absolute paths, or parent directory components. So you can't do that. Paths access with this API must be relative to one of the base directories. So then you have to pass it that base directory thing, I think. So, okay, so this is the file system all. Enable all of the APIs. That enables all of the APIs. But then there's a scope. The scope configuration is an array of that are allowed. For instance, blah, blah, blah. Folder of the app data directory. So if you need access to arbitrary file system paths, you need to write that logic on the core layer instead. Right, so I could write my own Rust code that does that. Right, the project folder and its children. Yeah, but also, wouldn't it also give me access to like when it's like app data databases, like app data would, I'm assuming, be in a .local share, right? And then it would be under like some name, you know what I mean? And then I would go in there. Yeah, so you have to pass it a dir, like a directory. There's home, but not sure if that's a user home or the app home. That's a good point. Oh yeah. I don't really plan to do all of this stuff, like saving blogs and stuff like that. This is how I would do it. I don't really want to write my own thing for this. Maybe I could take a look at yeah, like they know where to get fonts. You could like save a font so that you could like load your application maybe with like a different font. That would be nice. App config. Where was home? Okay, home. So if I give it the scope to home, so if I say scope here, and if I say file system and pass it that scope, and then if I just say you have access to everything in home. Now I don't necessarily want to do this, but you know, whatever. And then in the future, I'll probably save all of the blogs to... I mean, you could even... well, you could give a couple options here, I guess, maybe, but... there it goes. So there you go. That's how you could do that. Now, if I give it access to the home directory... that feels a little maybe too much. A little too much there, right? But I could probably now get pretty... this at least keeps me off like the system level stuff, right? And then you don't have access to that. But I could probably go a little bit like, I could go like local share, you know, something, blah, blah, blah. But I'm pretty sure that would be mostly handled by the, you know, things like app cache. It'd be like your XDG standard directory stuff. What I need from the file system is the ability to read and write blogs directly to the file system, or read and write tweets directly to the file system, or read and write all these things so that I can just store them on the file system. Also, I was thinking about using the watching thing to potentially drop events that I want to sign from one application to another, and then the application can like sign the event and then drop it back in the file system once it's signed. So there's probably another can of worms there, but you could have the user enter a directory they want to save it to, or create a home.appstorage. Yeah. In my opinion, tar is quite overrated. Main feature, or maybe you mean feature, is WebView plus secure combo. But WebAssembly provided or will give much better DX, and Python and Rust killer is combo for JS. Is a killer combo for JS. Maybe. But it still necessitates that you're using a web browser. Right? Can I ask why you don't just store things on a SQLite DB? We could just store them in a SQLite DB, but then also the other thinking was that if you just wanted to put like a blog, like if you wanted to like maybe like import a blog, maybe. So like that might be a reason. So like maybe you could be like you could open up a directory where you have like some markdown files, and then you can just like, you know, keep them there, and then you can just kind of publish them whenever you want, right? So that's one thinking. And then the other reason, well, I guess, yeah. Yeah, I guess the other reason was like being able to sign events from one application to another. Because I don't want to do that over like an HTTP thing on my computer, because there's security risks in that as well. But then there's also the fact that I would need to know the port, and I don't really like that. So yeah. Schema changes the app needs to update to. Storing the raw data might be best. That too, yeah, that too. That's another good reason. I don't really like. I could just say like because I already have the schema from the Nostr network, so I'm just going to be saving things as that. But like you could still get pretty complicated on top of that, and I don't want to update that either. So that's a good point. So like if someone's using the app today, they should be able to use it tomorrow, and it's just like flat files is probably fine. Check SurrealDB with edge functions. It matches perfect to Tauri and JS. I don't think... Where would the edge function live? Yeah, I'm not 100% sure about that. But anyway. So now I feel like if I can drop files places, like if I can write files places, and so I guess the last thing I'd want to do is just test if I can write a file to my home directory. So I just want to see if I can do it. So now we'll do let's do from here. We're going to do write. I don't know what the difference between write file and write text file really is, but we'll do a write text file. So say write text file. Yeah, like that. And this is going to be into hello. We'll say it's hello_world.txt. And we'll click this button. And let's see what happens. There we go. Hello world.txt with the contents of hello world inside of it. Yeah. So we can write to the file system now, and then we can read from the file system, which is pretty neat. And then we can put watchers as well. So if you just drop something in the file system, then I can immediately read it and do something with it. And I can't really be that worried about this because, like, I mean, so many other desktops are doing this. Like, Obsidian has access to the web, like when you install plugins and stuff like that. And they have, like, Obsidian Sync and all that kind of stuff. And they still have access to every single folder on your computer. You lost admin? I think you do have it. What about gRPC or Quick for cross-app communication? I don't know shit about that. So you're giving me news there. I don't know. How would I do that? Could you link me an article? As long as there's no way to execute the file, do injection, you should be fine. Yeah. I don't think there's any... I mean, right now, what I can do with this, though, I guess something that's a little bit scary, I guess, is that I can just delete everything in my home directory right now, right? Or I could just, like, kind of, like, write 1 million files in a loop, right? I mean, not that I want to do that, but I'm just saying, like, just the nature of this thing giving you that opportunity is a little bit scary. It looks like I have pretty fine-grained access to my file system just from just using this app, which, hey, you know. I guess this is the nature of working on the desktop, though. It's just different. Put that on the scope. Oh yeah, yeah, we could get more specific with the scope. Maybe another reason not to use SQL and just use the raw format. Yeah. Yeah. I'm probably going to stick with the raw format for, well, I probably will. Mostly the reason that I wanted to access the file system was that so that you can write everything out to markdown files. So like right now, everything's just in a JSON object. So it's just like, okay, yeah, I kind of have my files and stuff like that. But do I really, if they're in JSON files and then I have to go through and parse out all of the markdown that's in the content field? Well, now you can just export an entire directory full of markdown files. So like you could just go in there and be like, okay, I want all my blogs. I want them written in markdown for me. Just give them to me. And then now we can press a button where I just pull in all of your files as JSON and then I just write them out. Change those to accommodate not allowing remove file, dir, rename, copy, create, read, etc. Yeah. Right now I have it set to all. I would definitely get rid of the ones that would do that. And then also, this is always going to be open source. So anybody who wants to come and read and see how this thing works, I mean, they can come and see what's going on. But yeah. So I think this is, it's basically fine. But again, this is like, there's new things and new capabilities and new things you're like capable of doing on the desktop that you're just not really capable of doing from the web browser that are going to need to be explored and thought about, and best practices are going to need to be done there. Also, somebody mentioned gRPC. What is gRPC in this context? How could it allow me to talk? From one application to another. I don't care about all that. No Rust support? Oh well. Yeah, I think the public is just the public directory that's in your home folder, though. Yeah, but how would I set up communication between two applications? There's a crate for Rust, yeah. Yeah, I would assume there would be, but how would I set up communication between, so like Rust communication gRPC? Like I understand REST, you know what I mean? Like I understand like, okay, like HTTP, you go to like a, some endpoint at some, potential socket, and then I can do communication that way. But like, how would I identify something on my system with gRPC? Has messages and shares types. Wouldn't gRPC be harder to distribute data across? You would need to know all of the clients, right? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know anything really about it, so. I'm just kind of exploring it. I have no clue. gRPC might not be what I want, but I will say that one thing I want to be able to do is I want to be able to sign events inside of the blog app from an external app. So I want like this app, and then I want to be able to sign events and like use this app to just manage my secret and public key. See what I'm saying? Yeah. Well, I think they use IPC. They have like the inter-process communication thing. Oh, documentation and blog posts and things. I can never tell if it's actually something I really want or not. gRPC request, here we go. Okay, but it's still on some port. So I would need to know the port. So that's kind of where it still becomes trouble for me. So it looks like it doesn't abstract away anything else. Like it's still just like I have to know some port beforehand to be able to communicate between these apps. Whereas if I communicate with two apps over the file system, I feel like that is just easier to do. Maybe JSON RPC. Nah, I feel like they're like doing a web call, like having to communicate over a port is just not going to work because like I need some generalized application for signing events. Anyway, I mean, at least I learned that I can use the file system in there. So that was kind of a win. I think the best way that I'll be able to do it in the future is I will create a little app like this, and then that app will save a public and private key pair to a database locally. And to sign events, I would open a port on your browser and sign from the browser for now. Yeah, but I want a desktop native way to do this. I want to do it without needing my browser. I shouldn't need my browser. There should be a way to do it from my desktop. Should be a way for me to sign events offline. I don't need anything. I don't need the internet. I don't need a web browser. I literally just need to like sign an event from like there should be no reason that I shouldn't be able to just communicate between two apps on my local machine. Now, what is that going to look like? I don't really know. Key value database. Yeah, but then that database wouldn't, it doesn't, I need a database to store like they have Tauri has something called Stronghold. Tauri Stronghold. Where is it? Encrypted secure database. So I can use this to save the secret key. It would just keep a secret key. And then from there I need to be able to sign events using it. So then only this one application would have access. And then you would just like drop a file somewhere. It would be watching for that. And then it would just pick up that file that you dropped there, remove it, sign it, kick it back to you. And then once you are watching the file system for that file, then you can take that file and publish it. I don't see any other way to like I can't think of any other approach. Other than that. If anyone can think of a better approach, you know, I'll take it. But I think that that's probably what I want to do. And you want to make it event-driven or message-driven? Well, it would be an event like you would have a file system. So that's why I have this file system watcher. So if we look at we would have, let's see here. Yeah, we would have this. So then what will happen is, so the signing application that has your public and private key, that will be watching a directory, right? And anytime that something gets dropped in there to sign, it'll sign it and then it'll spit it back up and put it in another directory. And then this application will be watching the directory that it puts it in. And then whenever something shows up in that directory, you can publish it, which is the signed, or you can read it in, right? That would be the signed. And you can just do one at a time, so you don't have to do like a million at a time or anything weird like that. I would just ask users to type a JSON with some private keys. Yeah, you could do that, and that's probably what I am going to do for like the hackathon that I'm working on. Like I'll just, you know, just ask the user to input their public and private key into the app. But I think there needs to be something else in the future, like going forward. You could... Yeah, but like, how would it be created is my question. Like, what would you do other than like doing like something at the file system level? If you want like one application to sign events for like a bunch of applications, what else can you do? I mean, you can't really use the ports on your own local host machine because they're not guaranteed to be available. So it's not like I can really use like WebSocket or HTTP reliably. Like I could, for instance, I could be like, oh yeah, I'll just do it over an HTTP request. And that's fine. You could do that. But then if say you connect to 5,500, but then something's already running on 5,500. I mean, what now? I mean, then you can scan a port range and then you could see if you could find that method on the port range. Maybe that's the best way. But if you use the file system, then you don't have to worry about that. You just have like one directory that you watch for, I guess. It kind of sounds stupid. I just can't think of anything better. Yeah, everything needs a port, which is fine. You could do it over a port, but it's going to be your local host port. It's not going to be any other, you know what I mean? So like anything could be running on that port. You just have to hope that whatever port you're connecting to isn't being used. So that's where I'm like, I don't know. A central orchestrator and some broker. These are words that maybe confuse me a little bit here. So when I think like orchestration, No, but your client can be a different port. Well, the client port doesn't matter. The client, for all intents and purposes, there's no port that I'm even thinking about when it comes to the client. When I'm thinking, well, it depends. We're thinking like the blog app or a Twitter app is the client. But then we're thinking like the signing app is running the server, right? And so when we're talking about like central orchestration and some broker, this is not something. Yeah, you see my dilemma for conflicting ports, right? But when we're talking about that, I don't really know what that would look like. So like again, like when I think about orchestration and stuff like that, the only thing that I know about orchestration is like orchestration in the sense of like, you know, like maybe like Kubernetes or something like this, or like Docker swarms. I bet there's a trillion of solutions to spin up the app on an available port. Yeah, okay, so now you've spun it up on an available port, but how do you advertise that you're on that port? Well, now that maybe you could use the file system for. Maybe you could continue to use HTTP, but then then you could advertise the port that you're available on could be saved in a file, and then everybody could just read that file, and now we don't have to do so much stuff. We don't have to do so much stuff with the file system. The only thing that's on the file system is the advertised port that the signing app is running on. So you like go to like .local share whatever the name of the thing, and then you find like, okay, the port file just has one number in it. The number is the port that the server is running on, and then once you read that, then you can go, oh, okay, and then you hit localhost, the name of the port file, the name of the port, the number of the port that you find in that file, and then you can have this. Then you could have that ability. I mean, maybe that sounds less stupid, but I wouldn't know how this application would be able to advertise what port it's running on. I feel like that's maybe the best solution though. Like you just like your application goes and reads like, hey, is this app installed? And if it is, what port is it running on? But I think for the next stream, I'm just going to set it up with like, you just sign in with a public-private key pair. Really, you just sign in with your private key, you know, because you can derive the public key. So you just paste in your private key in the login page, and then, you know, you're off to the races. And then it can be done that way. But I definitely don't, I don't think that scales well, because I don't think it's a good idea to paste your private key into anything that you're not considering to just be like, I don't know. And then like even like this authenticator app, it doesn't even need to know the private key. Like you could even abstract it further into a hardware device and just have an interface with that. But maybe I'm just getting a little bit too off into the weeds. Maybe I'll just accept that you just are going to have to put in a private key for now. And it's just the way that it is locally. Anyway, I'll do that in the next stream, probably, like very likely. Anyway, I'm probably going to get out of here. I've been streaming for too long, as usual, and I'm now tired. I'm glad that I learned how to work with the file system in Tauri, and I think I'm going to use that. Unless you have an answer here, Carve. IPC? Yeah, but Tauri already uses IPC. Inter-process communication. Like, how would it happen? Like, how do you advertise in Rust? many platform-specific features as possible. Features, inter-process communication primitives. Local sockets, similar to TCP sockets, but use file system or namespaced paths instead of ports on localhost. Oh, wait. Yeah, I mean, look, they're solving the problem exactly how I'm like, yeah, you need the file system. Yeah. Like, this is the only way, right? Here we go. There, yep, it is a file system. I guess what I was kind of like doing here was I was coming up with like a primitive, like I was answering the question in some way. Okay. The problem is, though, this is named pipes, Windows only. Okay, domain sockets. All right. And this is probably going to be it then for solving this problem. I definitely need two-way communication. Use the inter-process create to create local sockets, Unix domain sockets on Unix-like systems, and named pipes on Windows. These sockets allow processes to communicate using the file system. Exactly. Yeah. See, I knew that you needed the file system. Like I knew that it was going to be necessary to do that because there's no other way. Now I just have to figure out how the hell to use this thing and how to get it spun up. This is going to be, you know, but I think I now see it as possible. Yeah, and you can use that, right. I read that. It looks like you can use gRPC on top of that, which is very nice. Which I think, yeah, like that would be cool if we could do that as well. So this will give us pretty much everything we need. So I'm kind of okay now that I somewhat have this question answered for me. I do want to eventually figure out how to do it though. So maybe I'll continue with the blog thing and then I'll just use like a thing where you can put the private key, but I'm going to like keep this in the back of my mind so that when I have a little bit of spare time, I'll probably take a look at using this. Yeah, I think this is the answer. I knew you needed the file system. I knew there was no way you're going to be able to I knew there was no intelligent way to just think oh yeah, this port will be open for me, you know? And then but only the file system felt a little bit too naive. Hopefully this is the answer though. It might not be. But yeah, this file system path inside a special namespace. Right. I feel like this is the answer. Okay. I'm seeding a stream to learn gRPC because it's in my list for a while. I know what it does, just didn't have the time to learn. Then if you stream, I can take advantage. Well, maybe I'll be able to use your help on some of this kind of stuff because I've got to figure this out. I guess this doesn't necessitate that I have to do it in Rust, but well, actually, at some point I am going to have to figure out how to do this in Rust. Okay. All right, I feel good about it. I think I have like my answer then. I am going to go maybe eat something and take a nap because again I've been streaming too long. Yeah, maybe we'll do it in Wales. Wales followed me, so we like Wales better than we like Tauri because Wales followed me on Twitter or whatever X. Oh yeah, I want to see how this was doing, this tweet thing. Yeah, okay. Didn't blow up my last one. Yeah, some are even signing in on their terminal. Right. That really got a lot of people mad when I made fun of Warp Terminal. Hi guys, I'm new to programming. Should I learn Rust to get a job? Maybe. Yeah, I didn't know that it stood for Google RPC. No, I didn't know that. But yeah, maybe we're just gonna do. We're probably gonna do We're gonna probably do IPC with gRPC on top, and I think that will be the answer. Okay, I've had enough. I'm tired. I would advise Go or JS. I would also advise Go and JS. I would not advise Rust to get a job. I would not advise this. Actually, to get a job, I would advise JavaScript, and probably my top 4 languages for getting a job would be JavaScript, Java, Python, depending on if you want to do like data science-y kind of junk. And then we'll clearly maybe like C++ or C. But yeah, like those are the languages I would probably, if everything was just about getting a job, that's what I would care about. Rust and Go are fun, but I don't think there are that many jobs using Rust and Go. It's increasing, but I don't know. You would not make it to the job before killing. Yeah, well, I'm telling you, there's a lot of jobs with it though. I worked in Java professionally for like 4 years, so I agree with this sentiment. Anyway, again, I'm getting out of here this time for sure. You can follow me over on Twitter, twitter.com. The handle is Chris@Machine. You can support the channel on YouTube via memberships, and you can support me over on GitHub with GitHub sponsors and that kind of good stuff. Yeah, and we're going to continue to do desktop apps probably all year long, so we'll see how far we get.